May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Roberts. Mr. Ruin. Mr. Marks.
Here.
Mr. Wyckoff.
Here.
Mr. Pena. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Holmes.
Here.
Mr. Stickley. Madam Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll get started with the minutes from the last meeting, the regular meeting, January 10th. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. May I have an invocation, Mr. Smith?
Father God, we come just first giving you glory, honor, and praise. Father God, we thank you for allowing us another day. And as we handle city business, oh Father God, we ask that you give us direction with wisdom and understanding. Father God, we ask it all in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I apologize. We always need to put God first. We'll move forward with the minutes of the regular meeting of January 10th, 2017. If you've all had an opportunity to review those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the regular meeting of January 10th, 2017 minutes. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. The minutes of the annual meeting for January 10th, 2017. Everyone has an opportunity to review those. May I have a motion, please?
So move.
It's been moved and second to approve the minutes of the annual meeting held January 10th, 2017. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. I will move to presentations. H.R. Green Landscaping at Jade Avenue Business Park. Mr. Baptiste.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, we have the consultant from H.R. Green, Bob. Bob, you want to?
We have developed some entry monument schemes for you to review and hopefully make a motion on tonight. The first one is in the theme of your existing one, prominently the blue and yellow colors of your board, I guess, your organization. And again, we have...
Closer to the mic, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we have, we've altered the concept of the other one going more vertical. The site in Jade Avenue Business Park is more of, it will be seen coming in, coming down the road. And so we've turned it perpendicular to the, and we've present a large face. This is what you would see coming down the road. And then as you pass by, we have the length of wall similar to your the original business park. And then in the next scheme, again, we're staying with the color scheme, but we're adding some brick, which kind of is a nod to the history of the architecture of Port Arthur. And again, to be seen driving down the road, see as you're coming to it. And as with the other scheme, we have columns that will be placed at corners and other entrances around the business park. And we'll develop the landscaping, the streetscape as we get this element settled and decided on.
If the board members have any questions, comments on the presentation, Mr. Bettis?
I think what Bob wanted, some input from the board as to, I guess, what's the next step, where you want to go, which one of these design, your preference, so that they could come back with a finished product for us right now.
Next month, we develop some costs on what the costs might be and a monument that everyone will be happy with.
Any
You put
lighting?
the other one on the other, so they could see both. Yeah.
Is there any lighting to it?
The monument will be lit
Okay.
to mostly focused on the lettering and this one incorporates your emblem of the EDC as well.
Well,
Michael?
my opinion, I liked the Jade Avenue over here at the business park. It looks more
Up there.
unique, more professional, kind of stands out more than this one does. Those kind of doesn't hit you, but
Right.
that one does, which would probably drive a lot of attention and probably fit those businesses that's going to be in there, since it's going to be a different type of a business being that side of the park. So I like that side, the Jade Avenue. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Mr. Marks?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Wyckoff. I think that one stands out, and it
Okay.
would actually enhance what we've got going on out there. So,
Okay.
Madam Chairman, under your non-consent number 1, it is you guys to decide which option, so we could give this gentleman some direction to move forward with. So I know you like to get back on that highway. If you don't mind, Madam Chairman, go to number 1, non-consent.
Not at all, not at all. We'll go ahead and discuss and make a motion on the first item to discuss for possible consideration approving an entry monument design for the Jade Avenue Business Park.
I'll make a motion that we select the Jade Avenue on the right side. I don't know if you have a different name for it, either A or B, but
How do we distinguish it?
With the logo. With the logo. That's the one.
okay.
Well, you could say this one is the brick option.
Okay.
And this one is not.
I'll make a motion that we select the brick option with the logo.
There's been a motion and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you so much for your presentation, and we appreciate you being here. So we'll move forward on that option. We have another presentation, Mr. Bettis?
Yes, we have Mr. Roger Charlo have approached us about engaging in some training. Roger, guess you come to the board and tell the board what you're trying to get done, man.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be in your presence on this evening. I'm Roger Shiloh, and I'm a division vice president with a company by the name of Conduent. We are a recent $6.5 billion startup, if you will. We separated from Xerox as of January the 3rd, and we are the largest business process outsourcer or the business process diversified company in the U.S. We represent about 18 different industries, and I would say about 40% of everybody that goes in the hospital touches our service in some way or another, because we provide a lot of automation and back office services for multiple hospitals and government healthcare, the government healthcare space as a whole. We touch about 40 to 45% of all U.S. child support payments. In addition to that, if you've ever driven through Houston and come in contact with the Harris County Toll Authority, We about 8.9 million people go through our toll systems every single day. So we're much bigger than just our call center services. We're a very diversified company and already have thousands of employees in Texas currently. I was speaking with Mr. Baptiste. I actually worked for Service Zone and moved to this area with Service Zone about 15 years ago, which became Client Logic, eventually became Sitel, and I left Sitel about 2 years ago and went to work for Xerox. So I've been in this area now for about 15 years. We were talking about jobs, bringing jobs to the Port Arthur area, and I was telling Mr. Baptiste, I said, we don't need a building. Because of the space that we are in, we typically can hire in about 33 different states today in our at-home program. And so I was sharing with him that we are embarking upon a ramp to about 2,000 employees with one of our current partners, which is the largest electronics retailer in the world. I don't have to give you the name, but most of you probably made a call using one of their devices within the last few days. We're looking to hire quite a few people. And so I was sharing with him that we could very easily target this area to expand our work-at-home space. And from that conversation, we were approached with a couple of different things. One, that there was a building that was becoming vacant, and had a chance to tour that facility, and there are ongoing conversations regarding that. But then the immediate need was knowing that we are in fact ramping to a large number of people. If there's any interest in this particular area in spotlighting or targeting this area for work-at-home advisors, then we certainly are able to do that and are willing to do that. And so I would share with you that I got my start in this business. I grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I never imagined, actually, that I would get a chance to work this close to home because of the accent. But once business started going over to India and Manila and South America, then the Cajun Creole and Southeast Texas accent became a lot more palatable. And so now we're hiring all over the U.S., with the exception of some states like California and New York for obvious reasons. So I'm here to answer any questions that I can about our business and about what we think we can bring to the table. And I will share with you that these are not technology as such that we provide all of the equipment. All the person has to bring to the table is a ready internet connection that meets our demands, which is typically about 5 megabytes upload and 1 download. So it's a relatively easy opportunity, something that we can do very quickly, and that's why I'm here tonight.
What's the time frame on training?
Our training is about 4 weeks. We have 3 weeks of in-classroom training and 1 week of on-the-job training. And there's no building for people to go to training. In our typical classroom, which is a virtual classroom, we typically have about 12 to 15 states represented in every single training class. And we use a tool called, we use WebEx, but we also use Blackboard. And Blackboard allows you to, I would tell you this, Blackboard is probably much more interactive than even being in a regular classroom with people sitting next to you.
And qualifications?
Qualifications, high school diploma, and customer service and/or technical skills.
And you know the next question.
Pardon?
The next question. Pay.
As far as the pay, we start at $10.50 an hour, and for every 20 people that we hire, we typically hire a supervisor. For every 100 people that we hire, we typically hire an operations manager. Supervisors earn between $35,000 and $50,000. Operations managers generally earn $45,000 or higher.
And it's based on 40 hours a week?
That's correct.
Target projections for this area as far as employment?
We don't have a set projection for this particular area. I think we would look to max out whatever monies are made available to us, and the training grant that's been proposed at this point allows us to I think recover about half of the training costs that we have for each employee once they're a full-time employee and they've graduated from the training program. We would not expect to pass on any cost for anybody that is not able to complete the training. In fact, our agreement with our client does not allow us to retain anybody that does not complete the training successfully. And I would tell you that we probably lose about 1 out of every 100 people due to just not being able to do the job. And really that's on us, because if we've selected somebody after all the testing that we go through on the front end, all of the interviewing, virtual interviewing, and they can't complete the training, then we've made a grave error.
Other questions?
Just the rough agreement that's before you is, as you see, and I'm not sure if Crystal's going to address, shows the dollar amount per trainee and then the aggregate amount, which would result in about 200 trainees.
Let me just add one thing. I've shared this years ago when I first came to this area. I think when we were, you know, and I'm just hearkening back to my time with ServiceZone and with Sitel. I think a lot of times the city was misled by, I guess, our starting wage at the time, which I think was a little bit over $9. And I think after the hurricane, there was a lot of people that felt like you just need to pay more money if you need to be in this area. And I kept sharing with the city, and I'm going to share this with you guys tonight. I don't know of anybody that comes to our business and leaves worse than when they came. In fact, I get email and calls every single day from people who worked with me in this city, who are located now in various parts of the United States and have grown tremendously as a result of being in this business, maybe are still in this business, or have used the experience they've gained from our business to benefit themselves and their families. And so when I look at our business overall and I look at our business model, we are a company that invests very heavily in training, both in just customer service skills and in technical skills. So there's no way you can come to this business and leave worse off. It's almost like having an additional community college in your area. In fact, I'll share with you when we were here as a ServiceZone. There was a lady at Dell in Austin named Mary Reap, and she ran the Dell tech support, their third-tier tech support. And we reached a point where anytime she had an opening, instead of posting it in Austin, she would call me, and we would send someone who we thought could handle the job. And as a result, I can guarantee you there are at least 20 people from Port Arthur, Texas, who are working at various places in Austin or with Dell in other areas as a result of coming into this business. And so I think to look at the business and judge it based on the starting wage is probably the worst way to look at it. We are very opportunist. I mean, we're a very entrepreneurial type business where the only thing that separates someone from coming in at the ground level and achieving whatever they dream of is the amount of work they're willing to put in. I came to the business personally back in 1989 with a bad Cajun accent and no insurance, 1,000 miles away from home, and just looking for an opportunity. And I'm happy to share with you that as a result of me being in this business, still with no college degree, I've been to at least 10 different countries. In fact, just got back from Johannesburg, South Africa on Saturday on a business trip. And I've been to just about every state in the United States. And that opportunity is not something that's just available for me. It's available for every single person who's willing to put the time and commitment into this business.
Thank you. Mr. Puffy.
The only thing I was going to say that we do have the human capital in this area. Eli can attest to that where we had the call center. So I'm all for call centers. I think it's the way to go. And the wage is not a big deal. Like you say, it's all depending on that individual, how far they want to go.
Amen.
So I think that gives us more resources that we need to take advantage of. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation.
I just have to drive some distance to get home. Somewhere on this agenda, which one?
Number 2.
It's number two.
Number two. Number 2. Crystal, you want to kind of explain your training agreement?
Good evening, Board. Mr. Shiloh gave you an explanation of what his business consists of, and I believe he is also talking about implementing a work-from-home type call center as well. So this is what's in front of you. We are proposing partnering with Mr. Shiloh for an on-the-job training agreement for 200 residents to be trained for this work-from-home program. They would be trained at 160 hours. Their take-home wage would be $10.50. EDC will, of course, reimburse Conduent for 50% of that, which would equate to $5.25. So we are proposing to give him $840 per student, up to $6,500. I'm sorry, $840 would be the total per student, up to 200 students. And I believe the total contract amount would be $168,000. Of course, none of that would be up front. It would be on a reimbursable basis. We would have to see that they did go through the training program, and we would reimburse him those wages. Any questions?
Question?
Okay, you can.
All 200, would they be from Port Arthur?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, we cannot expend any money but on a Port Arthur resident. Now, Crystal, we have budget $168,000 for 200 applicants, but it may not be 200 applicants. It may be 50, it may be 100, it may be 200. As many as we could find, up to 200.
And also, Kate, I would make this one observation. They have a standardized training program that they're going to go through. So typically, we work with a company to design the sort of benchmarks and parameters, but here, as I understand it, we will be incorporating their training syllabus, so to speak, and the deliverables as part of the training agreement. So effectively, we'll just be taking their regimen of training and attaching it as more or less the deliverables for each of the potential trainees under the program.
Well, as Mr. Shiloh has to get back, we'll go ahead and move to agenda item number 2 and then move to our regular agenda item to discuss for possible consideration entering into an on-the-job training agreement with Conduent.
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with the Conduent training program.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we move forward with the agreement with Conduent. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your presence. We'll go back to our regular agenda item, communications. Mr. Baptiste? Mr. Baptiste?
Port Arthur Educational Foundation, I'm going to have to yield this to the lawyers. I think I had some reservation about if it's eligible or not. Kate?
We received an executed form, but it doesn't really provide any detail. I think the board would have to look at the statement that they've attached to determine if they want individual tickets or participation based on that, because while they did, I guess they felt like by attaching the syllabus and statement that they didn't need to make a statement on the form itself. But we'll let the board decide if they feel there's some benefit to the attendance. It might work in collaborating with the school district on an effort for this new and expanded business requirement.
And the attorney saying what he said, I would recommend that if you guys want to get individual ticket, I think it's a worthwhile, something good for the Educational Foundation. They are one of our partners. We work with these folks, but as a sponsorship, I don't think we could do that, you know. But individual ticket, I would recommend if you guys want to go, we'll get individual tickets for you guys.
Okay. Thank you. We will move on Mr. Baptiste's recommendation in the,
And this is on the 28th, so if you guys wish to go, could you contact Joni, let her know?
thank you. We'll move forward to unfinished business to discuss for possible consideration recommendations from the board subcommittee regarding security services systems for 501 Proctor Street. At our last board meeting, we had some discussion about what kind of system we wanted for our security system. There were two of us that met with a security system company about the project that we wanted to move forward with. Was there someone here to talk about it? Huh? Okay. That's okay. We have a representative here from Patriot to talk about the system and the impact of what the committee discussed. Mr. Smith, before he speaks, is there anything you want to say or add, or do we want to comment after he speaks?
After you speak.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for inviting me. I'm very happy to answer any of your questions. I've already met with, obviously, Ingrid and Dallas. So I prepared the quote based on what they asked me for, and I'm open to any questions.
Could you explain to the board exactly what you explained to us, and just give us an overall what we talked about?
Sure.
An overall.
Okay, so in its simplest form, it's going to be a two-way video intercom system, which will enable somebody, if they come into the second door in the lobby, that they will be confronted with an intercom system for them to page whoever they want to come and see, and that will stop anybody just walking into the building. The background to this was originally you were looking at a guard to be here in the entrance to screen people coming in, and when that was put into effect that you didn't want to do this, that was where I was brought in to give you a different solution. And obviously the solution that I'm presenting to you is considerably cheaper than an ongoing cost of hiring a guard to do the same thing.
Also, can you explain, well, I'm going to let Mr. Marks speak, because
Sure.
I was going into a totally different area.
Just wanted to ask a question. In your experience, which one proved to be the most effective?
What, between
the guard, the person, and the intercom video system?
Well, I can only really speak from my own side of things. I'm not a guard person. I've never been involved in the guard service. Obviously, both sides, looking at on the guard side as a complete amateur, all I can say is that you've got a physical person there to meet anybody that comes into the office. And obviously, your staff members that work here have got somebody physically here to help them should something happen. So that's the advantage, obviously, of the guard side option, as it were. Obviously, the downside to that is obviously the cost to you as the business here. On this side, on the intercom side, obviously, you've got an upfront cost, but that's still considerably less than hiring a guard to be here all week. for a year. And once you've paid that, there's really no ongoing cost apart from the cost of the electricity to run the system, which is going to be minimal because it's low voltage equipment.
Michael?
Question, how much work would the staff have to be involved to operate this system? Is that any additional, that part of the cost is including your costs as well? Because someone has to monitor this thing, or how does it work?
What will happen, what was discussed with Ingrid and Dallas, that there was going to be multiple stations, obviously, on this ground floor. I think there was going to be 3 stations, I think, on the ground floor. And it would just be the same amount of workers answering your cell phone. The call will come in and you will ask the person, you know, what they want, or you may even know them because you're going to see a video screen image, and you just press a button and let them in.
So each staff member will have this capability of...
No, I think what
explain it to me.
they're recommending on three monitors
Yes.
downstairs.
On the ground floor, what was agreed was that you wanted one in the conference room,
Okay.
one at the front desk there,
Okay.
and one in Crystal's office. So if they were requesting somebody from the ground floor, that they have 3 options of where it could be picked up. And then obviously you have nothing on the second floor. What was discussed mainly with Dallas was running the wire and having it pre-run ready to add stations when you put people up there. And then on the 3rd floor, there were going to be 2 locations there will be 2 actual stations put in there, but there would be wiring put in to add additional stations upstairs. So there would be, you know, there would be less really, there would be less work, I would assume, really for the individual people. It would be the same for them as picking up the phone and talking to somebody.
Well, let me just add, I'll let you move, but we did include the chamber in this discussion.
That
and
was
so
my next question.
yeah, they
How
did. They
you
were
gonna
included, and
chamber?
the executive director did agree to where he wanted the locations of the station on his floor. So he was a part of the committee, the discussion.
I'd like to say to the commission, board, myself and staff have met, and, you know, we certainly commend the subcommittee for the work they have done and the information that you have provided to us. One of the things that I am very concerned with is having staff being subjected to making decisions as to who coming here and who not coming here. We, the staff and myself, feel that a panic button would work for us. If we could get a panic button, we talk about costs. It'd be a whole lot cheaper to have a panic button at every desk. And if somebody feel invaded, their private, their space is invaded, you know, someone could press that panic button. It would be a whole lot cheaper. But having it's very subjective. You know, we're not a private organization. We are public. We serve the public. And for us to say to someone, you can't come in, I think we just don't want that to happen. You know, so our recommendation to this board is a panic button on every desk.
Mr. Wyckoff?
And the reason we hire each staff member to do a certain job, and they're consumed throughout the day. I know they're not always here. I think Renata goes in and out. Krista does, and so does you. So that put burdens on maybe 2 people here. I just don't see it being successful. That's the only thing I say. But if the panic button works for you and you looked at it, I'm going to go with your recommendation because you looked at it and made sure that you got with the subcommittee and made sure that we're all in agreement that works best. I don't want to just give you something and you know it doesn't work and you accept it.
Well, we you know, when we sat down and talked, we looked at, I've heard in the subcommittee, the banks, and I've heard in this board, Mr. Pena talks about bank. What the bank have, they may not have security, but they have a panic button. You know, and you press the panic button, it notifies the police officer and whoever else needs to be, you know, the monitor, we press the monitor, what it's going to do, notify the officer also, right?
No, sir. The monitor will be for you to just decide whether you wish to let the person in or not.
Right.
I mean, from my own perspective, obviously we sell panic buttons too, but I think from what was told to me initially, you were worried about people coming in, just wandering into the building, and you had certain undesirable people. I would have thought from a safety perspective, you'd be better keeping them out than pressing a panic button and waiting for the police to attend. But obviously,
Yes, sir.
this is your decision, sir.
Right. And I certainly understand what you're saying. I agree with what you said, but I don't think, I would not want my staff to be the security officer for the building, because they making the decision as to who come in and who not come in. You know, we get folks coming in here all the time.
I'm kind of confused, Mr. Baptiste, when you say that you don't want your staff to be security, but you want a panic button. So I'm kind of confused right now, because if you just have a panic button, anyone can walk in.
That's correct.
So the panic button is just, if anybody walk in, they just gonna push a panic button?
No, sir. If your space, if someone invades your space, then you press the panic button. But the way the system works here, what you have here, we have to be very subjective as to, we staff, EDC staff, as to who come in this building, who does not come in this building. And we don't have time, I don't think any of us have time to just monitor who walking in this door all the time. You know, they walk in, a lot of folks just go to the chamber. You know, it's up to this board, whatever you guys want. Our recommendation is, staff is a panic button would do for us. We're not trying to keep anyone out.
Yeah, I think we talked about that initially, having a panic button, and I think that that there was some concern about wanting an additional security system. What we thought we were trying to accomplish was to have in that little corridor there a way we could just identify if I was coming to visit you, Mr. Baptiste, there would be a button I would push, and I'd call Mr. Baptiste. If I was coming to see the chamber, I would call the chamber. EDC would not have to be responsible for chamber, who comes in and out of the chamber. So that's what this system was designed to do. Yeah. And the other thing was, in my opinion, and I think the committee felt this way as well, in which we voted not to do a security guard, but I'll still make this comment. If we hired a security guard, it would have to be an armed security guard, because an unarmed security guard would be just like a staff member, and all they could do would be push a button as well. So I think what the committee, because when we were discussing this, what the committee wanted was a system that would allow for you all to feel a sense of security, to identify who would be coming into the building, and in particular, if they were coming for the chamber or if they were coming for EDC, then you would know who they'd be coming for. I realize there are probably times that you don't know who will be coming for what, but then you would have a barrier that said, well, Susan is coming in for something to do with EDC, and then someone would have to respond to them anyway, whether it was through that system or through just having them to come through the front door. One of your staff members would have to be impacted by that. But we certainly understand if a panic button is what you were wanting to achieve.
Well, when we look at cost, what we want to achieve is we want to be able to make contact with security police department if someone is invading our space, okay? With the system that we have, that you guys are discussing, it's a fine system, but it doesn't work for us because we're not sitting up front all the time. Half of the time, Thursday, it's going to be one person in this building, and it's going to be me, and I'll be back there, and nobody be at the front, you know? So is nobody going to be answering that front door? I'm going to be looking on my camera to see who's out there, and then I'll come out. And we feel the best for us is a panic button. Now, this board want to put a system, that's fine, but we think that the panic button we will be able to alert the police department if our space is invaded, and it's the cheapest way to go. Would you not agree?
I agree that it's the cheapest way for you to go. I'm not disputing that, but you just raised a valid point that if somebody's here by themselves, somebody undesirable comes in, unless they're sitting at their desk, the panic button is useless to them. I think, personally, I have a door camera on my home because my wife's at home a lot by herself. She gets a video intercom message so she can decide whether she wants to go and answer the door or not. I appreciate what you're saying, that you obviously let people in, but if you see a person there and you don't feel comfortable with that person because of the way they're acting, they are on the other side of the door. They're not actually in your face in an office, and that's what I mean. Obviously,
I agree.
Sir,
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you saying.
I mean, you say cost, but if one of your people here was injured, what would be the cost then?
And that was the original thing when
Sure.
we came up with security.
Sure.
But this board said cost was a factor.
Sure.
And I am saying to this board, if cost is the factor, I think the panic button is the cheapest way to go.
Sure.
Well,
Consideration, I don't think this board, the total decision was based on cost. I don't think that was at all the total decision. I don't want that to be miscommunicated at all. The cost of this was not the total decision by this board. The decision was the most practical, which is not totally just talking about cost. And so I think it's important that people recognize that we wanted you all to be safe, but we wanted it to be practical. To us, a $45,000 position for a security guard, because the only way for it to matter, it needed to be an armed security guard, may not have been the most practical thing to do. And that's why the board made the decision to move toward the second best thing, which was the system we're talking about. Now, if the staff feels like, or if Mr. Baptiste, not totally the staff, but if Mr. Baptiste and the staff feel like that that's not a good option, then I guess the board needs to look at because I don't think the subcommittee had an opportunity to review anything about a panic button. So the subcommittee can't make a recommendation about it.
okay. We have a gentleman right here who's a subject matter expert on the panic button too, right?
Sure.
Okay, Mr. Marks.
I just need to know if a panic button, you still will allow someone from outside access the building and walk in, and so they can actually go to either one of these offices, and then inside that office, staff would have a panic button if this person that came in was not someone that as you would say, this person was invading their space and made them feel uncomfortable. And I think during the discussions that we've had over this last several months, because this has been going on since I got on the board, and I came on in July, and we've been talking about this since then. I thought when we talked about this solution with the video monitors is that we would not allow anyone to access the building without someone from inside seeing who that person was. And initially, the quote was for $10,000 or so. I'm not sure what all was in, I don't have that in front of me. And the point I want to make is that if cost has become the determining factor, and the panic button is what you feel like you need, then I'll go with your recommendation. But that's your recommendation. I think that our recommendation was that we wanted to make sure or to ensure that no one was able to invade the space, because most of the employees in this building are female. And if somebody walks through that door and then they get to the office and you're trying to get to the panic button, which would call for the police assistance, you've got a 3 to 5 minute window before somebody can get here. Now, that does not seem like the safest solution to me. But if the recommendation is to go with the panic button, if that's your recommendation,
That is my
I'll go with
recommendation,
that.
sir.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you so much for all your time and effort that you have put into this project, for providing us with all of the different scenarios. We thank you and we thank your company for all your efforts.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, we will defer from the recommendation of the committee, because the committee did not have an opportunity to talk about a panic button. But we can go ahead, if the board sees fit, to vote on the recommendation of Mr. Baptiste and of the staff.
I'll make a motion that we accept the CEO recommendation for the panic button.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? There being no second, motion fails. So we will move forward with, would you all, I guess we can vote on the recommendation of the committee.
Yeah, there you go.
Madam Chairman, Madam Chairman, can I say to this board, if the board going to go with the recommendation of this committee, my recommendation is that a monitor be placed at every desk, because you're putting the burden of monitoring that front on just one or two persons. So if we have a monitor at every person's desk, then everybody's looking, but one or two monitors just will not work here.
The existing wiring, would it cover for every office to have a monitor?
Obviously, we can do whatever you require, but I thought initially when we had our meeting back in January that the cost was being looked at, and it was initially agreed at that meeting that the coverage that we discussed was going to be more than adequate. I mean, we can add many more. We can add up to 500 monitors. I know you don't need that, but the system will handle up to 500. So we can add as many as you want. That's not an issue. Obviously, it's going to increase the cost. But we will do, obviously, what you ask us to do. Does that answer?
Well, I think because we don't have a quote that includes monitors at each one of the stations, I don't know if that's a fair vote, or could you give us an estimate on that? The cost we have does not include having a monitor at each station.
So, Madam Chairman, on his bid sheet, it talks about 5 video control, 5 video tenant station, 5 monitoring brackets, Is that the monitor, sir?
Yes, sir, but
So that would be the cost for a monitor.
sure. But
So
I mean,
the cost is here.
But we're
Divided.
talking about wiring costs too.
sure.
Correct.
I mean, I would have to work that out for you to give you an exact figure. I'm happy to do that if that's what you want. I mean, personally, as I've said to you, you can add to the system. That's what we discussed at the meeting. I'll do what you want, but I would have thought prudency
Certainly.
would be to go with what you have, and if you then decide you need more monitors, that would be the time to do it, instead of, upping the cost and delaying an installation.
Sir, I hear what you're saying, sir, and I appreciate but delaying the installation put the work on one individual or two individuals in this office, and everybody have assigned duties, and I cannot just put the responsibility of a staff person being the monitor for the building. And that's why I would like to spread it out to everyone.
Sure.
So I think if we're going to do something, let's do it now.
Sure.
Yeah, Mr.
May I?
Baptiste, let me say two things. One is that everybody has a job description, but in everybody's job description, it's something that says other duties is required, and that's in everybody's job description. I'm not saying that they should be responsible, or you should be responsible for monitoring that. Let me finish. But if you if you have a phone call, and you have to take it and you have to answer it, that's part of the job. And I think that, and I appreciate everything that everybody has to do. I certainly appreciate that. But part of what you got to do is respond to your clients, and that's what we do. Number two, I think that the board has said we'll put one in every office, and I think that's just what we did. Money is not the issue. The issue was the most prudent thing, and I think we can put one in every office. And I think we'll just get the bids on that. And I think we can vote on tentatively agreeing on that, bring back a cost to the board at the next meeting so they will know definitely what it is. We can start with this bid with those offices, and then we can add on to them. That's my recommendation to the board. If I could get a motion on that?
Ma'am,
Sir?
Sorry, could I just respond to one of Mr. Floyd's questions that he just raised?
Certainly.
Sir, your staff won't be answering every call because obviously it'll be split between the other tenants. If somebody comes and wants the people upstairs, they will request and call to them. They won't call to your staff. And obviously, once you get tenants on the second floor, that will be added to the system. So the people should only be calling the company that they want to actually have business with.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that sometimes you may get people coming to the door who don't know who they want, and you said that yourself at the meeting, you have all sorts of people coming to you, but they may call the chamber upstairs when it's for you, or vice versa. So it won't be that you're screening every call like it would be if we had somebody at the front desk and they had to answer it to everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people you get.
Well, I will tell you, 97% of the folks that come in here to see EDC staff.
Sure.
The chamber mainly have a committee meeting.
Sure.
But 97% of the folks that, and those are folks that want to do business with us or just inquiring about what we do.
Sure.
And that is my concern to this board, is we're going to become very subjected to the public as to how do we know if they're a good guy or bad guy. You know, by looking at a camera saying, oh, I better not let him in. And that's being very subjective to people. We are a public entity. We serve the public. And I'm very concerned about my staff being subjected to who coming to this building and not coming to this building.
Please.
For clarity's sake, if the system is put in, the person that comes in and is in between the two doors here, he can't come into the main hall, he has to call someone, right? You don't just look at the monitor and say this person can't come in. He either has to call someone in the EDC or the chamber and say, you know, I'm here on chamber business. Is that correct?
That's correct. But again, Commissioner, today I had 3 gentlemen walk in here. They don't know what they want. All they want to do. So do you interview the person over the monitor or do you bring them in? It could be, it is the board decision. I have given you guys the recommendation of myself and the staff, and it is the board decision.
I think your question was, you do interview them in between that little area. I mean, I think that's what you do. You interview them in that area. But I also think we spent a lot of time on this item, and I think we need to move forward. Does the board want to vote on this system? Can I have a motion that we move forward in putting in this system and have monitors in each one and start with the initial areas that we identified? It's been moved and second to initiate the process of starting this system, starting with the offices that have been identified, and then including, after we get the cost, including those other offices. All those, we had a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition?
Here.
2? Okay. Four. 4-2. We don't have a quorum. We don't have the vote to pass it. That's what you're saying?
You have a majority.
Oh, yes. Oh, I thought you was, yeah.
I just want for the record.
It's done.
Right. Okay, motion carries, so we'll start with the process of initiating the system.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
We'll move to agenda item number 3 to discuss for possible consideration a letter of intent for economic incentive by Hennef Transportation Systems, LLC. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, in your package, you guys receive a letter from Hennex looking at locating in the business park 10-plus acres of land. It's a letter of intent. If you look at the NAISC code on the Phase 1 application, it does meet, it is a qualifying project for an economic incentive. We do have a person from the company, if you guys wish to hear from him.
Sir?
Sorry about that.
Hello.
Hi,
My
how
name
are
is, hi. My name is Edward Zisman. I'm the Regional Director of Business Development for Hennef Transportation Systems. Let me tell y'all a little bit about Hennef. Hennef is a large multinational carrier of bulk liquid chemicals. We haul chemicals in and out of all of the refineries, all up and down the Gulf Coast, up and down the eastern seaboard. Our corporate office is located in Chicago. We have 2 or 3 terminals located there in Chicago. Nationwide, we have 14 terminals at the time being. Hennef is rapidly expanding, and we're proposing to buy 10 acres in the Port Arthur Industrial Park so that we can build a state-of-the-art terminal facility. Right now, we're located over in the Nederland tank wash off of Barks Garden Road in Nederland. We've been there for about 4 years, leasing space. We've rapidly outgrown that space. So Bob Hennef is looking to build a $5 million facility. The industrial park would be the perfect for us. I've got some tentative diagrams and plans if you all would like to see them. Okay.
You can go ahead and I'll
Pass it down. I didn't have time to collate it. Right now, Hennef has in the Nederland terminal, we have approximately 20 drivers, 7 office staff. Within the next 3 years after getting the new terminal up and going, where our goal is to have over 100 drivers here in this area. So it's going to be a major hub for us.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, is strictly a letter of intent. As I said, the NAISC code does meet the economic development guidelines, and it's up to you guys if you want to move forward or not on this project.
Hennef has about 500 drivers nationwide. We own 1,000 tanks. Let me show you a picture of our trucks. I'm sure just in your daily lives, you've probably have passed one of our trucks 2 or 3 times in a day's time. Most of our trucks are these lime green, if you can see this far. Our 2 biggest customers in the area we're a primary carrier for Huntsman, and right across the street, we're a primary carrier for Ineos Calabrian, but we're in and out of every refinery and chemical plant along the Gulf Coast.
Board have any questions?
Do we have to make a motion for you to proceed? I'll make a motion.
A motion?
I'll second.
It's been a motion and a second to
proceed.
consider a letter of intent for the economic incentive by Hennef Transportation Systems. All those in favor?
No.
All
No.
those in favor? Aye. Any opposition?
What we will do, Madam Chairman, with the board's approval, is as we go forward, Mr. Baptiste will prepare a calculation based on capital investment, job creation, and then we would develop, based upon it, then if that was acceptable to the incentive recipient, then we would move forward with creating the milestone schedules, because obviously we have 2 things here. We have that, and we also have a real property to identify and get a closing done with.
So by this motion, we're just asking
Yes,
for
you're right,
Mr.
giving us
Baptiste to
the
move
directive
forward.
to proceed on both
Right.
grounds, the real estate transaction as well as the incentive agreement.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you,
Madam
sir.
Chairman.
Number 4, to discuss for possible consideration funding a 5-year 2017-2022 training partnership with the Port Arthur Industrial Group, the Port Arthur Industrial Service Contractor, City of Port Arthur Independent School District, Lamar State College, Port Arthur, Industrial Safety Training Council, and ABC Training for Industrial Training of Port Arthur residents with a commitment of $250,000 annually. Mr. Baptiste.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, I'm going to turn this over to Crystal.
Board
members, I think you have a PowerPoint, a copy of the PowerPoint in your packets. And if you give me just a moment, I'm going to try to get this up on the screen for you. There we go.
I'm sorry, Adam. There's plenty cranes. Just checking.
Right. On the agenda, we are proposing an initiative where we're working with Port Arthur Industrial Group, Port Arthur Independent School District, Lamar State College, and a few other entities, as well as the Workforce Development Center, to implement a new strategy where we are addressing the concerns of everyone involved, from industry to city officials to the residents of Port Arthur. It appears there is a gap in communicating or getting all of those entities together to offer adequate training and funding so that we can get Port Arthur residents trained for the available jobs in the area. The Port Arthur Industrial Group has met or started to meet today, I believe, at 5:30. They are also, Mr. John Hall, who is the person who's in charge of the industrial group, he is proposing the same PowerPoint to them tonight to get them all on board with it as well. I'll go through it very quickly. There's 20 slides, so we won't have to go through each one. But this is just to give you all an idea of what we're looking at doing as a partnership with everyone involved. As some of you know, the upcoming Generation X, which are ages 25 to 34, has only a population of 44 million. There are 76 million baby boomers who are retiring in the next few years, which leaves a smaller pool of workers currently that do not have the appropriate technical skills to fill some of the positions available in this area. Of course, if we think about it, whose job is it to address these issues? I think we need to all get involved, everyone from local government to educators to the industry, and then, of course, employment and training experts such as the workforce, ISTC, ABC Industrial Group as well. If we can get all of those entities together, we can form a great collaborative to provide the training that we need. The basis of disconnects among these entities include different operational models. Of course, there's different expectations from each entity. We all want a different outcome, so we all have our own agendas as to how to go about it, and sometimes that creates a big disconnect on creating a partnership. There's a lot of talk about unemployment problems, but only limited and occasional actions have been taken. And of course, there is substantial training required to replace these unemployed in craft trades. Port Arthur's unemployment challenges. As of December 2016, the unemployment rate for these entities, for the following entities were, in the nation, there was a 4.7% unemployment rate, in Texas a 4.6%, Golden Triangle 7.4%, and in Port Arthur 11.9%. The unemployment gap in Port Arthur translates to 4.5% more unemployed persons in this city compared to surrounding areas. In terms of educational attainment for persons who are 25 to 64 years of age, 10.8% of Port Arthur adults have bachelor's degrees or higher, compared with 30.9% nationally. Some of the factors contributing to Port Arthur's unemployment challenges: we have a large untrained and unengaged workforce, approximately 2,721 persons. Relatively high historic high school dropout levels, 26.3% compared to the state level of 17.1%. the big disconnect among key players who must be engaged to effectively address unemployment challenges, particularly regarding craft trade jobs. And then there's the absence of a coordinated and organized effort to tackle the complex challenges required to place long-term unemployed persons in available jobs. The forging a strategy to tackle Port Arthur's unemployment challenges. A comprehensive, effective, and sustained effort is required, consisting of several key components. The first two, Port Arthur Industrial Group has already implemented something with the Port Arthur School District, which includes scholarships to gifted Port Arthur High School graduates, and then a partnership to ensure the success of its college and high school initiative. Number 3 and 4 is where the EDC comes in, as well with all the other partners involved. We need to explicitly recognize that a sizable portion of high school students will not attend college, and the imperative for them to receive the training and certifications required for job readiness as they graduate from high school. A systematic and ongoing effort to integrate into the workforce long-term unemployed adults in the city. Strategy 1, development and implementation of the PAISD's Pipeline for Success program. The program will be developed in an expedited manner, so it may be initiated in August of 2017. That is our goal date to get all of this started. The program's focus will be PAISD students who are interested and committed to pursuing careers in the craft trade sector. PAISD, with support from PAIG and ABC, will develop the required curriculum for this program to ensure that participants may readily obtain the required certifications. Additionally, participants will take courses to equip them to be problem solvers, develop their individual career plans, and conduct themselves in a professional manner in the workplace. The craft trade occupations that will be included in the program are electricians, plumbers, welders, pipe fitters, and related craft trade jobs. The Pipeline for Success program's goals for the 2017 through 2022 period, we are hoping for 100 graduates with appropriate certifications upon graduation for the 2017 through 2019 school year, an additional 100 graduates with appropriate certifications upon graduation for the 2020 through 2022 school year. The next slide is a continuation of the first one. Port Arthur Independent School District will work with Lamar State College to create any co-enrollment courses required for this program. PAIG will provide current levels of funding of $20,000 annually for technical co-enrollment courses in 2017, 2018, and 2019. The ISD will launch the Pipeline for Success program in August 2017. PAIG will budget $75,000 to support creation of this program for 2017. PAIG will also work with the PAEDC to create internship-type experiences for program participants. That last line there, I apologize, it should have been taken out. EDC will not provide the stipends for students participating. Your next 3 slides are kind of an overview for you to look at. This gives you an idea of what the program consists of, what they will be learning, how many hours of each program piece of the curriculum. Annual targets for the 2017-2022 period: 50 jobs in 2017, 75 in 2018, 100 2019, 135 in 2020, and so on. The end result will result in 700 job placements through the end of 2022. Tangible support the PAIG will provide. They will provide job opportunities through their individual companies and through their service contractors. Ensure the vast training opportunities available through Port Arthur Industrial Safety Council and ABC are available to new employees at little or no cost. mentoring support to newly employed persons through PAIG and service contractors. Mr. Hall has contacted and received commitment from John Como and Morris Carter to help coordinate this critically important effort in coordination with ABC and ISTC. If all goes well, the potential annual wage impacts of successfully implementing the plan by 2022. You would see 700 workers at possible 55,000 annual wages per worker. You'd see a 38.5 million impact. If we were to go ahead with the PAISD program, 200 graduates through that program at 55,000 per wage would total 11 million. And collectively, 900 workers, you'd see an impact of about $49.5 million. Your next slide goes over some of the support and programs that the EDC currently has in place and how we can, some of these may be able to be used for the programs such as the OJT Life Skills program. We can implement some of this into this program as well. This last slide is just so that everybody can keep in mind some of the factors that could be beyond PAEDC and PAIG's control. The refining and petrochemical sectors provide less than 20% of available jobs in Port Arthur. Hence, job placements must also be pursued in various other sectors in order to succeed in reducing Port Arthur's relative high unemployment rate. Available data clearly shows some unemployed persons do not want to work in the craft trade sector or in the refining and petrochemical sectors. So we need to just keep that in mind whenever we're trying to employ Port Arthur residents. Not everybody wants to work in the industrial sector. And as far as the industry goes, the refineries only employ about 20% of those seeking work or less. Many of those go into craft trades with subcontractors. And that is the end of the PowerPoint. Mr. Baptiste, did you have anything to say about it?
It's Mike.
Meeting with us, we're asking this board to make a 5-year commitment of $250,000 for training in the industrial trade. You know, we feel that it's a big endeavor. It's going to be a tough job. I even recruited Ira to come down here to help us out with the workforce. But we feel that if we can accomplish the tasks that we have on paper, we will see a different city. So we're asking this board commitment of 5 years of $250,000 for industrial training.
You're welcome.
I would just say it's a good layout, it's a good plan. You got to have a plan and starting point. You did mention the workforce will be use, those resources as well to make sure we're targeting those folks. I guess a bigger dollar base will come from them as well. It's a starting point. I would say that you probably have plans in place to meet on a regular basis to check where you're at and really follow up and really have key indicators to tell you if it's working or not and make adjustments. So it's going to be a real commitment between the EDC and the school district work together. And I think the lead is coming from Dr. Porter, right?
I think the lead, Commissioner, Dr. Porter, also industry. I think that industry has said to us that, they don't hire a lot of folks, but they're subcontractors. Mr. Mark's been in the industry for a long time. All those jobs that used to be there, they're still there. The companies don't hire now, subcontractors.
Right.
So they are saying to the subcontractor, this is what we want you to do.
Yeah. And I would say subcontract training is probably about a high 50, high 60% nowadays in the refineries. So
Yes, sir.
that's a good way to go.
Mr. Morris?
Crystal, and I'm not sure what page 11 it says PAEDC will not provide annual stipends. Is there somebody who's going to step up to the plate to provide those stipends for the participants?
Let me say, this is for high school kids.
Right.
Okay. Currently, industry provide 4-year scholarships. Industry provide training, paying, I think, about 20 kids in instrumentation and process operator. Yeah, but industry paying all that for the kids right now. And in one of the slides, you know, they talk about budgeting an additional $75,000 for some creative things that they want to do. But we cannot pay for stipends for kids.
Right.
That's why it's being removed.
So it's just it's removed completely?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For this program. Now, because this is such a large initiative that we're doing, possibly in the future, if we were to work closely with Lamar State College, that we have talked about possibly doing stipends for those students that go through the process engineering programs there. But high school students, I believe we're not able to do the stipends.
You have to be connected to a job.
Are there any other entities is helping with this endeavor as far as monetary?
Industry is putting over about $600,000 a year into this thing themselves. You know, industry is also making available ABC and ISTC training free for Port Arthur residents. You know, so there's a lot of in-kind, but industry is putting their money up also. The school district currently have what they call it, the K Center.
Kate.
The K Center, that facility is going to be used. So there's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of in-kind. Everybody putting in something, man.
A great project. Can we have a motion to move forward or not move forward?
Move that we move forward with the motion for the training of Port Arthur's Job Training and Placement Initiative.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to move forward with the funding for a 5-year 2017-2022 training partnership with the entities. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Number 5, to discuss for possible consideration authorizing the second renewal of the contract with Southeast Texas Building Services for janitorial services at 501 Proctor with a projected budget not to exceed $30,000. Mr. Baptiste?
Janitorial service, Southeast Texas Buildings, they currently maintain the building here. Their contract expires March 31st, 2017. We're asking you guys to renew it. Currently, their contract is for $20,160. I increased that to about $30,000 because possible tenant on the 3rd floor, and as we get tenants, the cost's going to increase. So I just put some money in there not to exceed. If no tenant, the cost's going to still be $20,160. Just asking you guys to renew it at a cost not to exceed $30,000.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve moving forward with the second renewal of the contract with Southeast Texas Building Services for janitorial services. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Number 6, to discuss for possible consideration moving the March board meeting from Monday, March 6th to Monday, March 13th.
Yes, Madam Chairman, I think several members of this board will be in Austin for the Triangle Day in Austin on the first Monday of the month. We're asking you guys to just move the meeting to the second Monday of the month.
So moved.
It's been moved and second to move the March 6th meeting to March 13th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. We'll move to reports. Marketing and Business Recruitment Report. Renata?
VGA3. Yeah, VGA3. Thank you. Well, I'll start off by saying that I missed the last meeting. I know Mr. Baptiste kind of touched on the local marketing campaign that we have going on in Port Arthur. And behind you, I actually have live snapshots that I actually went around and I took pictures of the billboards. And this particular billboard here is located in between Holiday Inn and Mainstay. If you guys hadn't seen that, and that's pretty much coming in from Beaumont. It's a left-hand read. And then this one is currently located on Gulfway Drive at 2nd Avenue past Parker Lumber. And this one is located, of course, on Twin City and Hoggaboon. Very pretty at nighttime. It's a lit billboard. And basically this billboard initiative was to encourage locals to be loyal, buy local, shop, eat, and be entertained in Port Arthur. So this is something that we started, of course, 6 months. We'll see how I do, and then we'll move forward after the 6 months. Moving forward, of course, every year we do a newsletter, and this is last year's newsletter, so it's time to gear up again for that. I've started on a few tasks. I got to get with Mr. Baptiste to decide how we're going to lay it out this year, but that's upcoming. And then also, I received an award in the mail. We were actually awarded an award last year that you guys were told about, but I actually have the award. It's here. Physically, I have it here. And basically it reads, 2016 Award of Excellence, Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation, Port Arthur, Texas, presented by Expansion Solutions Magazine. And the magazine I have here, we're actually in first position. We're at the front of the magazine this year, and I'm really excited about that because this is our international marketing campaign, and this magazine pretty much has touched thousands of hands. It goes to every convention, conference, whatever it may be. This particular company is always in attendance, and they send us leads per their attendance. And pretty much these are the other people that received, that received the award along with us. This is a snapshot. But if you guys would like to look at the magazine, you can always come to my office at your leisure. They have other economic development corporations and other entities as well. And that concludes my report. You have any questions? All right, thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Operational report. Crystal?
Okay, so we've basically gone over the big initiative that we're working on right now, so I've gone over that with you all. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the upcoming job fair on Thursday from 9 to 2 p.m. I'm going to pass out a listing of all of the employers there just for your information so that you'll have that. Again, that job fair is from 9 to 2 this coming Thursday. We did put it together in collaboration with the Workforce Solutions Center, Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce, and the Port Arthur News. Everybody has helped tremendously. It's turned out to be a really big event. We've got about 46 employers. Word is getting around. We've had many calls from job seekers, so people are eager to work, and we're expecting a really good turnout. If any of you would like to come out that day just to hang out with us, help us out, volunteer, we'd greatly appreciate it. There will be lunch for recruiters. We can offer you guys lunch as well. Team Fabricators will be starting their next class coming up on February 13th. That is for the higher level welding class. So that is still going on. Our CDL course through Lamar State College just started on February 1st. And Mr. Smith, I do have those numbers for you. Over past, not including this last class, but the past ones before that, there were 31 Port Arthur residents that went through the program with EDC tuition grants, and 27 of those completed the class and received their certification. Our recreational area in the business park has been complete. We did the punch list with them. There's a couple of things they need to tidy up as far as the contractors go, but it is complete, and we are hoping to do an open house possibly in March, so we'll let you all know when that's more concrete. We have some dates set up for that. And that concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you, Crystal. Mr. Baptiste?
There's a folder with your packet.
And I also gave, you guys should each have 2 gumbo tickets and 2 tickets to Mardi Gras for Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay.
And I'd like to say congratulations to Commissioner Roberts. I know he didn't get a lot of sleep last night. None. Congratulations, man.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm surprised to see you. That was phenomenal.
I kept bugging him.
That was phenomenal.
Wait a second, what did he do? Now he's got a son that
I sweated, man.
Yeah, I know you did. Oh my goodness! Congratulations to you and your son. Fantastic.
Tough game, man.
It was something else, I bet.
Yes.
Feeding that
Just
atmosphere.
being there and being down on the field with the guys, and you know, the whole week we was there and participating with them, taking pictures, and you know, just doing the family thing. It was with the Patriots. It's really all about family, you know, and everything that they did, you know, we were right there involved in it, the practice, to everything, you know. So just enjoyed it, man. We sweated it out, man. Believe me, it was tough.
Got one
game.
phone call about in the third quarter, about late in the third quarter, said Vegas taking over.
Yeah, I don't know, but you know, talking with my son, he told me that, you know, they went in at halftime, and the week of practice that they had, Atlanta was doing a lot of things different than what they anticipated. So with the Super Bowl having a longer halftime, they were able to sit there and the whole halftime they just watched film. They watched film on what Atlanta was doing and made their adjustments from there, you know, on the field.
We got to shorten that halftime show up.
Well, not this time. Next time they can do whatever they want to do, you know. But I tell you, the combat and the guy, Brady, you know, if you ever meet this guy, I mean, he's a real pleasant guy to be around, believe it or not. But when he's on the football field, he's even my son, they change into different people. So because they're so competitive to where, as a fan, you're against these guys. Because I was never, even my son, we was never Patriots fans until we received the phone call. Then we became automatic Patriot fans. But that's how fans are. So if you ever get a chance to meet these guys, go for what you know with them, not what you see on the football field, because they're competing. They're warriors on the football field, but they're young. My son is 22 years old, and so he's young. He'd be 22 for a while, and there's a lot of pressure on them guys. So we just appreciate everybody's support.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
It was a great game. Rachel, I'm sorry I did not forget you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Rachel been out ill, and she threw me under the bus, so I'm going to try to... What we basically did was gave you guys your financials up to the first 2 pages show you what your budget, your actual, and if you look at the second page, you spend just about, you budget about $6.7 million. You only spend about $500,000 of that. The other thing I got into when I was looking at this thing, I went back 10 years, back to 2004, 2005, when I first got here, and I showed you guys how the sales tax that have been coming into this community. And if you look at it back in 2004, 2005, you was getting about $2 million all the way up to 2007. Then you start getting $3 million in 2007. And it just shows you the trend. In 2017, I broke it down because I'm projecting again that 1/8 of your money is going to go to the city. So when it says EDC, that is what you currently have received, and the $265,000, that is what have gone into the street maintenance program thus far. So you still have about 8 months of revenue to come in. Then the last page, I went back and I looked at your unaudited financial, and as I told you guys at last board meeting, you guys have just about $10 million and a quarter million in the bank that you and your current budget, as you saw, was $6.6 million, $6.7 million. The projected end of the year, after we spend all our money, if we spend it all, going to be about $3.5 million. And I'm projecting an additional $2.6 million in revenue. It's going to be a little more than that because, we're going to sell some lands, we're going to pick up some assessment fees. So I could jump that thing up to about $3 million. But by the end of the year, you should have about $6.5 million in the bank, which is pretty good business.
I got one question. I know September, I think the 17th, that $1.4 million we had set aside for infrastructure across the street. Is there any plans in place to move forward on that, or we're looking like getting that 1.4 back to our budget?
I have spoken to the manager, and I have made them aware, and I think I need to talk to the lawyer. The money, we have set aside the money, but the money have to be allocated, guy, to a project, right? And the money have not been allocated to any project right now. But we have set aside the money for the infrastructure, but the city have not defined a project. I think, Mr. Mark, that's what last time you was talking about. Yeah, we set aside the money, but no project have been identified. So that money, September 30th, guys, September 1 rather, that money come back to us.
Mr. Baptiste, when you're looking at your budget, And I know that we have money set aside for over a 5-year period. So when you're doing your budget, you include those monies that's been set aside for projects over, I guess, over a 5-year period.
Well, I only budget 1 year at a time. I project, but I only budget 1 year at a time. You see, and every year you have a different allocation. You know, like when we talk about the training, the 250,000. That's just for 1 year. That's 1 year budget. Next year, in 2018, it's going to be an additional 250,000. Each year is going to be an additional. So currently, we've been budgeting what, $750,000 for training. That 250,000 is in that 750,000.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Bettis? For Rachel? Any other questions for either of them? Okay, at this time, we'll recess to executive session. A closed meeting or executive session will be held pursuant to the following sections of 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, Section 551.072, 074, 087. Thank you. Move to executive session.